The Box Hill Killer, Detective Rob Miller Mysteries, Book 4, by Biba Pearce. Narrated by Nathaniel Priestley. Prologue. It was the perfect place to dump a body. The woody terrain and dense bush made it impossible to see further than a few hundred meters along the road in daylight, let alone in pitch darkness. It was out of the way, accessible only by a series of dirt tracks. Popular with cyclists, but at this time of night, nobody was out for a scenic ride. There were no houses nearby. Box Hill was in an area of outstanding natural beauty and therefore protected. The killer stood in the clearing and inhaled. Earth, leaves, moss. An ideal canvas. Fitting, given the nature of the ritual. The body was heavy, but then he was a fully grown man. Even heavier now the life had drained out of him. The killer positioned the body in the center of the clearing. It required precision. He had to be laid out just right, like the others. Careful, so as not to get it wrong, they spray-painted a white circle around the corpse. Protection and unity. It wasn't quite perfect, not with tufts of grass getting in the way, but it was close enough. Next step, the pièce de résistance. The killer took out a long kitchen knife, the kind used for cutting meat. They had sharpened the blade until it sang. Now it was ready to do its deadly work. Straddling the body, the killer carved a 5-pointed star into the victim's naked torso. It was slow, painstaking work. The open cuts glistened in the moonlight. There was a lot of controversy about the inverted pentagram. Popular culture attributed it to devil worship and the occult, but it was never meant to be evil, and it didn't represent Satan. To early civilizations, it had represented the 5 elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. Since then, other esoteric groups had adopted the symbol and given it their own meaning. Balance and harmony. Male and female. Mercy and justice. It was believed to be the most powerful in midsummer, when the sun was at its highest. The killer snorted. How ironic. This man was anything but powerful now. In life, he'd been rich and successful. He'd given the illusion of having the perfect life, the perfect career, the perfect family. But it had all been a lie. He was rotten to the core. The killer hated liars. He deserved to be punished. Now his dark side had been extinguished, offered back to the earth, cleansed. Killing him was freedom for them both. The killer wiped the knife on a rag and stood back and surveyed their handiwork. Perfect. The scriptures were right. It was grounding, stabilizing, a form of rebirth. The killer hadn't felt this good in years. Time for the final touches. 5 candles positioned at each point, a guiding light, if you will. They were long, tapered dinner candles and would stay lit for hours. The killer lit them using a box of matches from the glove compartment. There. The scene was set. It was mesmerizing, beautiful even, although not everyone would appreciate it. The killer stared at the mutilated corpse for a moment longer, then turned away. A small creature rustled in the bushes. Shadowy trees stabbed the night sky. Somewhere in the distance, a fox cried out. It was time to go. Chapter 1. 12 years ago. Susie Palmer peeled herself off the couch. She glanced at her phone. Nearly midnight. Noah had been gone for hours. It was time to start worrying. I'm doing 50 kilometers this evening, he told her when he'd left, a determined smile on his handsome, sun-tanned face. Last big session before the race. 50 kilometers would take him 2 hours. Noah was fit. He trained regularly, usually doing shorter stints during the week and saving the longer rides for the weekend, but tonight was different. It was a flawless summer evening with not a breath of wind. The race was on Saturday, 3 days away, and he wanted to get in one last training ride. It was dark now. The sun had eventually disappeared behind the red brick houses and bushy treetops, enveloping everything in a thick, dark blanket. She tried his mobile phone again, but it diverted straight to voicemail. The battery may have died by now. She checked on the children. They were all sleeping soundly. Matthew was spread out like a starfish, Rebecca curled up in the fetal position, and little Joey on his stomach, his dummy discarded on the mattress beside him. 3 kids under the age of 7. She often wondered how different her life would have been if she hadn't married Noah. An actress, her star on the rise. She'd gone from bit parts in local productions to walk-ons in bigger budget productions, and then a supporting role. She still remembered her utter joy when she'd got the call. The heart-thumping excitement of having actual lines to rehearse, of playing an active role. A professional actress. She'd met Noah at a party in London. Charming, successful, handsome. It was everything she'd wanted in a man. Ticked all the right boxes. Soon they were going out. He proposed, and before she knew it, Matthew was born. Acting had taken a back seat. There were more important things in life, like being a mum. 2 years later, Rebecca came along, and then Joey 2 years after that. Perfectly timed. But then she was a planner. It was one of the things Noah loved about her. "I can always count on you to remember things," he would tell her. She ran their lives like clockwork. Nothing was left to chance, even now as she debated what to do. The children's school lunches were prepared, packed in Tupperware boxes, waiting to be placed into rucksacks for school in the morning. Except for Joey, of course. He was still too young for school. Susie stared out of the window into the pitch darkness. He'd been gone long enough. It was time to call the police. No, not the police. Sam. He'd know what to do. She picked up her phone again and realized her hands were shaking. Once she made this call, she was admitting Noah was missing. She scrolled through her contact list looking for Sam Lawrence's number. He was a police detective with the London Met. He had the sway to put things in motion. "Hi, Sam, it's Susie. I'm sorry to call so late. No, actually, it's not. I'm worried about Noah. He hasn't come home yet. He went for a bike ride hours ago. He's training for this race on Saturday. He left just after 5, I think." "Okay, thanks." Sam was there 20 minutes later. Susie opened the door and sagged in relief. "Oh, Sam, I'm so glad you're here. He's still not back. I'm getting frantic. I just know something's happened." Sam put an arm around her. "Come on, let's sit down." They went into the lounge, a spacious room with high ceilings, plush carpeting and walls painted in skimming stone grey. A giant L-shaped sofa dominated one corner, while a matching armchair lent balance in the other. It was elegant and contemporary, and her favourite room in the house. She'd designed it herself after completing her interior design course several years ago. On the wall was a huge flat-screen television that was permanently tuned to CBBC. It was off now, however, and instead, the calming tones of classic FM played in the background. Sam led her to the sofa. "How long has he been missing?" he asked. "You said he left at 5. "Yes." Her eyes filled with tears. "It's over 7 hours ago. Oh my God, Sam. Something's definitely happened to him. He must have had an accident or something." Sam's forehead was furrowed. "It's possible. Have you tried ringing him?" "Of course." "Sorry, stupid question. Is it going straight to voicemail or ringing off?" She gulped. "Straight to voicemail." "Okay, we'll see if we can trace it anyway. I'm going to get a squad car to look for him. Do you know which way he went?" "Sort of," she said. "He's training for the Ride London cycle race on Saturday. I think he was going through Kingston toward Esher and out toward the Surrey Hills, but I can't be sure." "That's a fair distance." "He wanted to do 50 kilometres tonight. He said it was the last big push before the race." Sam raised a bushy eyebrow.